Hello, sis. Hello. Hello, Soul Sisters, and welcome to another Soul Sister Ramblers online yoga class. As always, I'm going to ask you to lay down in your constructive rest to start. So you're going to lay down on your back. Your knees can either be bent or straight. Your hands down by your side. This allows you time to focus on connecting and being present through your practice. As you settle the body onto the mat, allow your attention to drop into noticing where you may be tight or any sticky points in your body. And as you drop into your yogic breath, deepening and lengthening the breath, focus on releasing those points in your body where you may be holding on to your tension. And as you settle in for this practice today, we set our intention, which is saying yes to what helps you grow. And I start with a quote by Scott Stabile, who says, "I have decided to stop saying yes to people and situations that don't support my well-being. Instead, I will say yes to my happiness, and yes to my growth, and yes to all the people and things that inspire me to be authentic and whole, while at the same time accepting myself just as I am. My yes from here on out is my pledge to live honestly, my commitment to love myself fiercely, and my cry to create my best life possible. From here on in, learn to say yes." So we'll just take a few more breaths here, allowing ourselves to really be prepared for our practice today. Focus on the breath, release the belly, let the belly expand. Allow the belly to feel like a balloon as the air inhales into the belly, feeling it rise and expand like a balloon. We deepen that breath to bring it up underneath the ribs and into the chest. And as you exhale and let go of anything that you may be holding on to that doesn't serve you. Focus on its release as you let the breath come back out through the nostrils, bringing it with it. So we're just going to start by opening up through the hips and the shoulders a little bit. We're going to do a lot of deep hip, thigh opening, and shoulder opening. So I want you to bend your knees, bring the soles of the feet together, allowing the knees to drop away from each other. You're welcome to tuck blocks underneath the knees if that allows you to find release. And just allow yourself to settle. The pelvis is heavy. You feel the muscles in the inner thighs and groin starting to lengthen, allowing the knees to drop further towards the earth. We're going to bring the shoulders in here and the arms, the upper body. I want you to take those arms, reach them up straight towards the ceiling. Bend the elbows, grab alternating elbows. And then we're going to take those forearms and we're just going to drop them overhead. So as we allow those arms to drop towards the mat, we feel this lengthening through the front of the body, right from the abdominals all the way up through the chest. You feel an awakening in the shoulders. The shoulder blades are resting heavy on the mat. Tuck the chin. And just breathe into the release, into the opening. We're going to switch arms now. So you're going to bring the arms back up overhead, cross the arms, the forearms in the opposite direction, and then allow those forearms to again drop back down towards the earth. Feel the stretch through the side body, right up into the armpits. Still releasing and letting go through the hips. Then we're going to bring those arms back up, place them down by our side, take a hold on the outsides of the knees, draw the knees up to center. And we're going to keep those knees bent. Now, this is the point where you may want to have your blocks ready beside you and a strap. So allow yourself to have those props down by your side before laying back down. And we're just going to draw the knees into the chest. We're going to keep the knees and the ankles and the feet together. And we're just going to do little circles. Nice and slow. Getting a little deeper with each round. Circling a little bigger. And when you come back to center, you're going to circle in the opposite direction. Bring the knees back to center. We're going to push the knees away from the belly so that they are stacked over top of the hips. And we're going to take those shins and calves in a 90-degree angle, flexing the feet. Let's take those arms out into a T position, and we're going to come into a reclined twist. So you take a nice deep inhale, and when you're ready to exhale, trying to keep the knees and the feet and the ankles together, we're going to allow them to drop off to the right. Now, if you find that you have a tightness where the knees do not drop down and the feet do not drop down, you're welcome to take blocks and stack them underneath the knees, giving yourself a bit of support. You want both shoulders to be resting on the mat and gaze over the left shoulder. And you're just going to breathe into this reclined twist. Slowly allowing those left ribs to reach over towards the right, the upper body still resting on the mat. You're going to engage your abdominals and inhale back up strongly, realigning the pelvis, realigning the legs, that 90-degree angle. This time I want you to turn the palms facing down, and then we're going to exhale over to the left. Again, noticing whether the shoulders are soft on the mat. If the shoulders lifted, we want to lift the knees and the feet a little bit and maybe tuck a block underneath. And just slowly breathe into the twist. Head gently turned to the right. On your next inhale, coming back up to neutral. And we're going to bring the soles of the feet down to the mat. We're still going to keep the knees bent. And we're going to bring the hands down by our side. I want you to walk your feet a little ways away from the body, because what we're going to do, make sure you have a block handy, and make sure your strap is handy. We're going to take that right foot and we're going to thread it through underneath the left foot, in between the left foot and the left hip. So that right foot is coming off to the left. And you're going to reach down for that left foot and hold on to it. So we want to feel, you're going to feel that deep stretch down through the front of that right thigh and that right hip. Now it's going to do a deep stretch in towards that right kneecap. And so if you are feeling that that's too intense, you're going to take that block and place it underneath the knee. Either way, if you have no block, we want the knee gently working down towards the mat or allowing itself to rest on that block. And this stretch is going to become a little deeper. We're going to bend that left knee, take that right hand and hold on to that left knee. And we're going to draw that left knee towards the chest. You're going to feel that stretch deepening. Remember to listen to your body and where your limit is. If this is too deep of a stretch for you, you can pull back and keep that foot just above the ground or on the ground, that left foot. And then we're gently going to release the left foot, reach for your strap, and you're going to wrap it around the ball of that left foot. We're going to take that left leg up into the air, holding onto the strap with the right hand, and re-engage with that left foot, or with that right foot with your left hand. And we're going to push up through that left heel. So we have a lot going on here, a lot of deep stretching. Try to stay present, close the eyes, find where your limit is. And then we're gently going to bend that left knee, left foot down on the mat. We release the strap, move the block, and we're going to take that right foot back down onto the mat. Now we're going to go the other side. We're going to thread that left foot through in between that right heel and the right hip. So remember that left knee can either be sitting on a block or directly, gently working its way down towards the mat. We use these props to assist us in helping us find a deeper range of motion. So now we're going to draw that right knee in towards the chest. And then if it's available for you, you're going to take that strap around the ball of that right foot, take that right leg up into the air, pulling on with the left hand, and we're going to re-engage our right hand with that left foot. You should be feeling a deep stretch through the whole lower half of the body. Bend that right knee, release the strap, bring the right foot down, and bring the sole of the left foot back down onto the mat. And we're just going to keep the knees bent, soles of the feet on the mat. Let's just release any tension we've created in those outer hips. Move the hands off to the side and just gently let the knees drop from one side, up through center and over to the other. Just do one more round. And then we're going to come back up to center. We're going to keep the knees bent, but this time we're going to take the heels as close as possible down towards or in towards the sitting bones. We're going to root down through the right foot. And as you inhale, you're going to push into the right foot, lift the pelvis, lift that left leg, and draw it in towards the chest. As you exhale, we come back down. We're going to do 3 more rounds. Inhale, lift. Exhale down. To find a little more space and openness in the back as you inhale and roll up, maybe you're going to roll onto the toes as you draw that left knee up towards the upper body. 1 more round. Resettle that left foot, ground down through the left foot. As you inhale, you're going to inhale, push through the left foot and draw the right knee up, lifting the pelvis. Exhaling. 3 more. Last one. Draw the knees into the chest. We're going to work our way up to seated. So either gently rocking back and forward or rolling over onto your side. Come onto all fours. And we're going to come into a child's pose right away. I want you to take your strap and you're going to stretch it long across your mat. And then we're going to slide back into our child's pose. Remember, if you need a block underneath the head, or if you need a towel in between the calves and the thighs, or maybe underneath the fronts of the ankles, find a position that allows you to be comfortable, bringing the head down. And we're going to take that strap and grab a hold. We're going to take our arms long, reaching up towards the top of the mat. That strap is tight in between our hands. And then as you inhale, you're going to push down through that left hand, and we're going to inhale and lift that right one up. And exhale back down. Inhale, left, lift the left. Working with your breath. You're going to feel it in the shoulders. We're coming into a spinal twist here. Keep the sitting bones rooted down on the mat. Let's do 1 more round. Finishing on the left side. And then we're going to release the strap, rest the forehead back down on the mat or your blocks. And we're just going to take those hands, swing them round so that they are laying down along the hips with the hands facing, with the palms facing up. And just give yourself a couple of rounds of breath here. On your next inhale, slide the hands under the shoulders, push up onto all fours, coming up into your tabletop position. So we're going to come into our cat-cow, but we are going to do it in a little bit of a different, a variation today. So when you're coming through and doing your cat-cows, I want you to imagine that there is a big barrel surrounding your body. Okay, so you are in the center of this barrel. And what we want to do as we move through our cat-cows, instead of doing that linear up and down, we're going to do this circular motion. So as you inhale, push the shoulder blades up, touch the top of the barrel, tuck the chin, and then we're going to exhale, slide the left side of the body along the barrel. You're going to inhale, you're going to take that belly, rub it along the bottom of the barrel, and come back round to the right side. So we're moving with the breath in this round circular motion. Now, I always tell you that to keep the arms straight But as we explore this movement, you can allow the arms to bend, allowing that belly to really drop down. And then we're going to row and go round in the opposite direction. Coming back to neutral spine, we're going to come down onto the belly, sliding the hips forward with control, coming down, forehead on the mat. We're going to take those hands underneath the shoulders. And then right away, we have done this in one class before, we're going to come into a twisted cobra. You're going to take those fingertips and slide them off the mat, coming up onto the fingertips. So the elbows are reaching up and back. We connect down from the belly button all the way down to the tops of the feet. And we're just going to do some gecko cobras here. We're just going to inhale, lift. Push through the fingertips, exhale down. Inhale, lift. And exhale down. Now this time with the forehead on the mat, keeping the elbows up and bent, we're going to slide that right hand up to the top of the mat, the left hand down by the hip. So those elbows are still reaching up. We're going to inhale, push, and twist to the left. Exhale down. Slide the hands in the opposite direction. So left arm up, left arm, right arm back. Inhale, lift. Gaze over the right shoulder. Come back to neutral, lower the head. Let's do that once more on each side. Switch the arms. Strong from the belly button down, connected into the mat. Turn to the left. Last one, switch your hands. Inhale, lift. Gaze over the right shoulder. And then come back down. Slide those hands under the shoulders. Let's push up onto all fours. And we're going to start working our way up into our downward facing dog. Reach those hands forward, turn the toes under, and push them up. Coming into your downward dog. Feet are hip distance apart. And we're gently going to bend one knee and then the other. We're going to allow the torso, the hips, to rock from side to side. So you're gazing underneath alternating armpits. Really pushing down strongly through the leg that is straight, working the heel down towards the mat. And then we're going to allow the legs to settle. Coming into a settled downward facing dog. So remember to protect the wrists, you're going to push the weight so that it's resting at the base of the fingers. Fingers are spread wide. We're going to soften the shoulders away from the ears, draw the shoulders away from each other, and we're going to rotate those inner elbows towards the front of the mat, creating space across the shoulders. We're going to draw the forehead towards the knees. Nice deep breath. There's always the option of child's pose. You're welcome to stay here. If you want to explore further, you're going to take that right hand, you're going to thread it through underneath the body, reaching towards that left ankle or calf. The right shoulder drops towards the earth and you gaze underneath the left armpit. Bringing that right hand back. Resettle. Left hand threads through. Right shoulder drops towards the earth. Still pushing down strongly through both legs. Gazing under the right armpit. We're going to take that left hand back. If you're in a child's pose, you're going to come up into your downward facing dog, getting ready to come into a forward fold. Inhale, gently look up and step up. Feet are hip distance apart. Bend the knees. Grab alternating elbows. Do a gentle rock from side to side. If your fingertips can reach the mat, you can have the fingertips on the mat. We want to release through that lower back. Take notice of where your weight is resting. Are you scrunching your toes? We want to release the toes, pull the hips back so they're sitting over the ankles. And then we're going to swan dive up to standing. So on your next inhale, bend the knees deeply, float the arms out. Bring the palms together. Connect them into your heart center. On your next inhale, arms back up overhead. Hold them in your heart center. Take a few resting breaths here, reconnecting with our intention of saying yes to what helps you grow and develop. Letting go of toxicity and negativity. We're going to place the hands down by our side. We're going to take that right foot, cross it over top of the left so the ankles are crossed. Then we're going to inhale, take the arms up overhead. You're going to take that right hand, holding on to the left wrist. Inhale, lengthen, and as you exhale, gently fold to the right. Inhale back up through center. Release the hands, uncross the legs, taking that left leg over top of the right, crossing the ankles, arms back up overhead, left hand onto right wrist. Inhale, lift, and exhale, fold to the left. Inhale back up to center. Bring the hands down. Uncross the legs and come up to the top of your mat. We're going to start coming through our standing poses today. I'd like to try and transition from one pose into the next on each side, and then repeating it on the opposite side. So up near the top of your mat, we're going to start in our chair pose. We're going to transition into our warrior one. Hopefully then transitioning into our tree pose. And for those that want to explore a little deeper, maybe a seated pigeon pose. Okay, standing seated pigeon. So we're going to inhale, take the arms, reach them out long, and exhale. Sit back into your chair. Weight out of the toes, tuck the pelvis, reaching the arms long, either straight in front or lifting them up. Pull the knees back. Holding it here, taking a few breaths. And then we're going to transition into our warrior one. So we're going to bring our hands into heart center. You're going to keep the weight in that right foot, and all we're going to do is step that left foot back, nice and long. Root down through that back left foot, through the pinky side of that left foot. And as you inhale, lift the body, lengthening it up, pulling the ribs away from that front right thigh. We want to take that left hip, drawing it forward. And then we're going to take those arms, reach them up overhead. Thumbs reaching back, shoulders away from the ears. Nice and strong. engaged, gazing straight ahead or up. And from here, we're going to transition into our tree pose. We're going to bring our hands into heart center. I want you to roll up onto those back left toes, and we're going to shift the weight forward, straightening that standing leg, pivoting that left knee away from the center line, connecting the left foot into the inside of either the right ankle, calf, or thigh. Focusing on your drishti, that focal point. Remember, this is a hip rotation. We want to take that left knee, rotate it away from the body as much as possible. And then we're going to inhale and take those arms up overhead if they're available. Remember, you're always welcome to hold on to a wall. Now from here, we're going to try and transition into a standing seated pigeon legs. Bring the hands into heart center. And all we're going to do is start bending that standing right knee and sliding that left ankle over top of the right knee and sitting back down into that chair pose alignment. Even yoga teachers have days where their balance is precarious. And then we're going to push up strongly to standing. And preparing for the other side. Take the arms, reach them out long. Exhale, sit back into your chair. Tuck the tailbone, pull the knees back. Nice and strong in the thighs. Take the weight out of the toes. And then we're going to take those hands into heart center. Root down through the left leg, and we're going to step that right leg back. So we're going to root down through the pinky side of that right leg. We're going to lift the upper body up. Draw that right hip towards the front of the mat, and inhale the arms. Transitioning here into our tree pose, bringing our hands into heart center, rolling up onto those back right toes. We're going to slide the toes forward, straightening that left leg, taking the weight into that left hip, and then externally rotating that right knee away from the center line. Either connecting into the ankle, the calf, or the inner thigh. And then we're going to take those arms up overhead. And transitioning, bending that standing leg, taking the ankle across and sitting in. Gently inhale back up, releasing the foot. Coming back up to the top of your mat, preparing for our next standing pose. We're going to come into a high lunge. So all we're going to do is take our hands into heart center. We're going to take that right leg, we're going to step it back nice and long, rolling up onto the toes. We're going to bend that right knee. And we're going to come into a flow here. So let's bring our hands into heart center while we settle. Now, as you inhale, we're going to inhale, take the arms up overhead and straighten that right leg. Now, as you exhale, you're going to bend that right knee and we're going to take those arms, reach them forward. Inhale, straightening the leg, arms up overhead. Exhale, bend the knee, reach forward. 2 more. Inhale, reach. Exhale, fold forward. Last one. Inhale, straighten the leg, arms up overhead. Exhale, reaching forward, right knee bent. We're going to bring hands into heart center and step forward. Preparing for the other side. We're going to take that right leg, step it back nice and long. Roll up onto the toes. Bend the left knee. Be engaged. Front left knee over ankle. Lift that back thigh and kneecap. Nice and strong. Hands into heart center. Lift the upper body away from the thigh. And let's go through our flow. As you inhale, straighten that left leg, arms up overhead. Exhale, bend the left knee, reach forward. Inhale, straighten the leg, arms up. Exhale, back into the high lunge, reach forward. 2 more. Exhale in. Last one. Exhale, reach. Hands into heart center. Step forward. And come up to stand. So our final standing pose before we start working our way back down, we're going to come into our warrior 3. I want you to have your blocks handy. You're going to place them up at the top of your mat, shoulder distance apart, on the high end. And all we're going to do is exhale. We're going to fold forward, hinging through the hips. Now, depending on whether or not you choose to use the blocks is up to you. We want a nice flat spine, or reaching forward, the spine is still flat. We want the blocks underneath the shoulders. And we're going to root down through that right foot. And we're going to slide, come up onto the toes and slide that left foot back. We're gently going to inhale, lifting that back left leg. Trying to take the weight out of the blocks if you're holding on to the blocks. Coming up maybe onto the fingertips. Maybe bringing the hands into heart center. Try and keep a nice flat pelvis. Dropping that left hip down towards the mat. So when you drop that left hip down towards the mat, what a lot of times will happen is the upper body will swing to the right because we're tight. So I want you to make adjustments for that. Really notice that as you drop the hip, whether or not the upper body swings. You can take the hands, if you choose to, along your sides, or reach them long in front. And with control, we're going to come back up to standing. Now, if you find that you're struggling on your mat with your balance, you're welcome to come off your mat, giving yourself a little more support. Let's get ready to do the other side. Folding forward, hinging through the hips, either hands into heart center or reaching for those blocks, moving them so they are underneath the shoulders. We're going to root down through the left leg this time, sliding that right leg back, And then maybe slowly lifting that right leg, right hip drops, make adjustments, gazing down, maybe hands down by your side, maybe reaching forward. And with control, whoop, trying to look at you, come back up, gently rolling up. Let's work our way back down to the mat. Come up to the top of your mat. We're going to vinyasa flow, coming into tabletop position. Inhale, arms up overhead. We're going to exhale, fold forward, bend the knees, plant the hands, step back into your high plank, and then just come down onto the knees. So depending on how open you are in your hips, the option is taking that right knee, crossing it over top of the left so that the right knee is off on the left side of the mat, and we draw the feet away from each other. The other option is if you're really tight, just crossing the ankles. And then we're just going to exhale and pull the tailbone back behind. So you're going to feel the stretch through the outer hips. Inhale back up. Exhale, sliding back. Inhale back up. Let's try that one more time. Find your limit. And come back up. We're going to bring the feet towards center, uncross, realign. And this time we're going to take either cross the left ankle over top or the left knee right over. Whatever works for you. We're going to exhale, slide back. As you inhale, come back up. Remember, draw the feet away as much as possible towards the outer edges of the mat. We want to feel this in the outer hips. Last one. Inhale, come back up. We're going to uncross the legs or the ankles, roll over onto your hip and swing your legs around. So come into a seated position with the feet hip distance apart, the knees bent. So we're going to come into a seated happy baby. You're going to roll up onto the heels. We're going to take the arms on the insides of the knees, 2 pointer fingers, and we're going to take them around the big toes. So what we're going to do is walk the feet back a little bit. Inhale and see if you can lift 90-degree angle on the legs. Push the chest forward through the knees. Push the heels out. We're dropping those knees back towards the armpits. This is a bit of a balance too. So the option, if you're struggling with the balance, is just lifting one leg, drawing the knee back, and lifting the other leg. Both versions will give you the same results. So from here, what we're going to do is we're going to take that left heel, drop it in towards the groin, and we're going to straighten the right leg. And then we're going to switch sides. So remember, again, the modification is keeping that Left heel on the mat, draw it in towards the body and straighten the leg. Don't let the spine round, whichever version you are doing. Nice and tall. Ending with that left leg being straight. With control. Bring the feet down. Slide the feet together. Come into a seated cobbler. Holding on to the ankles or the shins above the knees. Using the resistance to allow yourself to sit up tall. Drawing the knees towards the earth. Staying here, or if you want to deepen this pose, you're going to bend the elbows, drop them to the insides of the knees, gently pushing the knees away from each other and folding forward. If you have the space to really fold deeply towards the feet, you can walk those hands forward as you fold forward. Gently going to inhale back. Bring the knees together. Preparing to work our way back down for our final few poses before Shavasana. You're gently going to hold on to the knees and roll down. Bring the soles of the feet back down to the mat. Walk the feet right to the outer edges of the mat. Arms out into a T position. On the exhale, let both knees drop to the right, head to the left. Inhale back through center. Exhaling over, knees to the left, head to the right. Once more on each side. Our final pose before we settle in for our Shavasana, we're going to come into either a supported or unsupported bridge pose. So if you're going to do your supported bridge pose, you're going to have the blocks beside you. Our knees are bent, feet towards the sitting bones. And we're going to inhale, lift the pelvis. If you're coming into an unsupported bridge, you're going to imagine those knees being a block between the knees and you're squeezing that block. That doesn't mean the knees touch. There is a block in between there. The hands can work down towards the heels. You're going to tuck one shoulder blade and then the other, really lifting the chest, lifting the pelvis, tucking the chin. Maybe interlacing those hands underneath the tailbone and working on your bridge. If you're coming into supported, you're going to do the same thing, lift the pelvis, but you're going to stack those blocks securely underneath the pelvis, allowing yourself to just focus on the opening in the upper body while still finding that extension through supported pelvis. And if you're on your blocks, you can just take your hands, tuck them behind the blocks, still giving yourself that lift and support. We're going to take 2 more breaths here. Whichever version you are in, you're going to release the hands, untuck the shoulders,
If you are having blocks underneath, roll up onto the toes, remove the blocks off to the side. And either form of our bridge pose, we're slowly going to roll back down. Let the pelvis touch the mat, keep the knees bent. Take a couple of breaths here. Okay, let the spine readjust before then drawing the knees into the chest. And gently rock from side to side. Bring the soles of the feet back down to the mat. Your choice on how you choose to do your final Shavasana. You're welcome, with all the deep hip opening that we have been doing, to come into a reclined butterfly pose, which is your cobbler, drawing the soles of the feet together. Taking those blocks underneath the knees, the thighs. You can take one hand on the belly and one on the heart. Tuck the chin. Or if you choose to do so, you can slide both legs down. Take those feet to the outer edges and then allow the feet to drop away from each other. You can still bring your hand on your belly and hand on your heart. Allow the breath to soften. With each exhale, allow the body to release more deeply onto the mat. And as you release more deeply onto the mat, you let go of your tension. Let go of the tightness in the jaw. Settle the eyes behind the eyelids and let them drop heavy. Soften the shoulders. Allow yourself this time and space for this final restorative pose at the end of the practice. And as you do so, we complete our practice today with a quote by Shannon Alder. And she says, when you are joyful, when you say yes to life and have fun and project positivity all around you, you become like a sun in the center of a constellation. And you attract all good in people that are near and around you. As we close our practice today, I want to thank you for joining me. As you re-enter the world today, may it remain kind to you. And as you move through your week, remember to embrace all those kind thoughts and words upon yourself. And remember to say yes to what helps you grow. Namaste.